second row. One man of the match for South Pitt. And for Greensburg, it was Frankie Egres, their number 10. Young player.
Perfect.
Very good. Ran real well. Defensively was sound. Just a great all-around player for their team. And definitely, with a full side, would be a huge impact player for them.
Yeah, and what type of position was he playing?
He was number 10, fly half.
Oh, okay. So a position that usually needs a lot of knowledge of the game.
Definitely.
And a young player?
Definitely. And definitely knew what he was doing.
That's
played
brilliant.
well, moved well.
Excellent. That is fantastic. Yeah. So obviously, hopefully, Greensburg will take that. They'll take that defeat on the chin, and they'll hopefully progress and, try and do a little
Lots
bit better.
of new young guys on that side.
Yeah,
Lots
which is
of
good.
room to move forward for them.
Obviously, since we've had you on the podcast, Red, we spoke to Bill, and he was kind of saying he thought what was best for the city was one team, everyone focusing towards that. I kind of disagree with that. I hope Greensburg see this as we've a lot of young talent here. Numbers maybe aren't the greatest, but hopefully they come back next season stronger.
I think they could.
They could. Indeed.
I think they could. Looking at their roster, they definitely had more than 23, I believe, play this season.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of getting them all there together consistently. And it's a whole different team then.
Perfect. Sticking with D3, we had a top-of-the-league clash with Akron and Forge. Now, I kind of spoke with Gator. What I kind of thought was this was almost changing off the guard. This was Akron, who is all of a sudden the new biggest team in the league, versus the Forge, which have the best kind of foundation set behind them. Both me and Gator put our money on Akron, and indeed Akron did win. They came out victorious, 36-19. The score was tied at 19. Scored at 19-all in the 65th minute, but Akron was able to put in 2 late tries and a penalty kick to secure the game. With the win, Akron won the Midwest D3 Eastern League. They were top of the league, and they will participate in the first round of Midwest playoffs. They're going to start on November 2nd, Red. Their opponents and the seeding is yet to be decided. But obviously, that's a great win for Akron. Akron went 6-0. They won every game.
It's a big turnaround for the club.
Big turnaround. Huge turnaround. And obviously, talking when the season started, how much I kind of feared Cleveland. Mm-hmm. The Cleveland teams, Rovers, Crusaders, they both had a finishing record similar with the Forge of 4 victories and 2 defeats. But Akron, they beat everyone they played. Obviously we can talk on the Greensburg game where that was technically a forfeit, but even if Akron, they would have destroyed them either way. Yeah. The Forge tries were scored by loose forward Michael Rennie and Zach Serger. He's a standout player from RMU. The outside centre Corey Jacobs also scored. And Al Cochran, good friend of the pod, supposedly Gator keeps saying he listens. Great. He scored 2 for 3 off his conversions. And centre Claude Clark was named man of the match. Now, Claude Clark, we spoke previously on players who've done the rounds, played for a lot of clubs. David Banter, currently now up in Presque. Claude Clark's done the rounds. He's a young man. He's come out, he's trained with South Pittsburgh Hooligans. He's certainly pulled on a jersey, whether he's been sipped or not. He then went out, he was sipped with the Harlequins.
Correct, yeah.
And obviously, we did kind of mention a few times how the Harlequins is in a rough period. And Claude decided what's best for him. I'm going to get out of that current situation. And he joined the Forge. And once again, man of the match. I think this is now his second game.
2 weeks in a row.
Is he the type of player who will be pushing for a D2 position? Obviously, his first season with the club, you don't just join a new team and say, hey, I'm a D2 player now.
I would normally say, yeah, definitely. D2 has the skills, has the strength, speed, everything you need, but man, they have some good centers.
The only thing on Claude's side, I feel, is his youth.
That's true.
He's a young lad, isn't he? Fresh out of college.
Yep.
And when I kind of think of the D2, there's a lot of D2 ex-Pitt City players who surely might be kind of coming somewhat to the end of their careers.
Good point.
So Claude is probably
definitely
coming
in the next couple of years would definitely be D2. I think he's good enough now. Who's ahead of him? That makes a difference, though.
Yeah, that is the big thing. And obviously Forge have a lot of players they can play around
they sure
with.
Do.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good performance from the Forge. Obviously, that's probably the closest Akron have come to a defeat. They fought them hard, but once again, Akron, there's someone else, right, aren't they?
They go over it.
They do indeed.
Their bench is as good as their starting 15.
Yeah, and sticking with the Forge, the D2 team travelled all the way to Chicago. Big trip. And they fought the Southside Irish. The Forge pounded them to a 60-5 win.
That is a long drive to crush a team.
It is indeed. I spoke to a few of the players and I asked them for kind of, was there a standout moment? Was there a Miller High Life highlight? And they said not particularly. the Forge kind of felt pretty confident from the beginning of the game to the end. The only thing that they could think of was when the game was tied at 5-5, the conversion for the Southside Irish was chased down and blocked, which obviously kind of gives you a little bit of energy. You know, someone has the energy to run out there, and they kind of blocked it. Neil Reynolds had 3 tries, another hat-trick hero. Dave Ashline and Bryce Markworth each had 2. Alex Gordon and Russo, good friend of yours, isn't he? You often say he's the greatest player in the region.
Wouldn't say he's a good friend of mine.
Well, you know
one game with him, I know who he is.
You do indeed.
He's a very good player.
Very good player. Each had 1 try. And the fantastic kicker, Andrew Dirty Nuddle, had 6 conversions and 1 penalty kick. Man of the match was David Ashline. Like I said, got himself on the board with 2 tries. The Forge D2 now are going to have a big day this Saturday, and they kind of encourage everyone to come out, and I personally am going to try and get out there, Red.
I think I'll be there too.
Yeah, good. They're playing at Robert Morris at 2 p.m. Just looking for the time. I have it written down here somewhere. 2 p.m, Philip Morris Playground, and they will be playing... I'm looking at Red for an answer.
They will be playing Lincoln Park.
Lincoln Park
Another
again.
Chicago team.
A Chicago team.
area team.
Yeah. So that's looking forward to next weekend.
Yeah. So Lincoln Park finished 4th in the D2. I believe it's broken into the East. And so it'll be the Forge as the first seed against hosting the number 4 seed. And then the Chicago Blaze will be hosting the Cleveland Crusaders for the 2-3 game. If the Forge win this weekend, as I personally think they will, they will then host the winner of the Chicago Blaze and Cleveland Crusaders. Yeah. Wouldn't that be great?
Would be.
To see Cleveland come down here again.
Yeah, really give it to them.
Match.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah. And like obviously, till I die, the South will rise. I'm South Pitt's affiliated. Yeah. But the fact that this is a whole nother league, this is a whole nother sport almost, D2. Yeah. I'm completely on for the Forge to win this. Are you? Absolutely. I'm completely for Akron to go on and represent the region. Absolutely am. I'm completely for Gannon Women, which we will touch on, to go on and represent the university. I'm completely for Robert Morris University. I want rugby to thrive. You know, I really do. Right, so from this point on, I'm full Forge, you know. Forge Day, I'm going to come out with my little bandana. You know what I mean? I'm going to have Gator. Well, Gator won't be in town, but if he was, he could wear his little T-shirt, you know. Completely
definitely a Forge supporter this weekend.
And then how does it break down? If they win that game, as Forge were the top seed, they will keep on having home advantage.
They will host the winner of Chicago Blaze and Cleveland Crusaders.
Fantastic.
Which, I don't know offhand, but I think that those are 2 pretty evenly matched teams.
Excellent.
So that's anybody's game out there.
Yeah. And obviously, big day. But the Forge women are also doing brilliant, Red. Obviously, we spoke about last week. They went up to Buffalo. Well, Buffalo, came down to them. It was an early game, 10:30. And unfortunately, the Forge did lose. But the Forge had a week off, and they had to face Akron. And they beat Akron 65-0. It was a big game for them, and it was kind of, you know, the Forge, their season, I wouldn't say it was over, but the writing was on the wall. When they lost to Buffalo, they knew where their standing was. That was a top of the league clash. And once they lost, they kind of must have realised, we're in kind of a tricky situation now. We're still going to qualify for playoffs, but we're not going to have that home advantage. We're not going to be top of the league. So when that kind of happens, you can kind of either have that mentality, we're going to come back with a vengeance, or morale has dipped and we could lose. So this was a big game. They went up to Akron. They had 30 players in the squad, and they had a fantastic victory. Within the first 10 minutes, 2 scores were tried by my favourite, Scout Cheeks, in the 4th and the 6th minute. So just imagine that as a mind frame for a team. We've had a really bad defeat. We might be a little bit edgy. What's the best thing for us?
Scout Cheeks.
Let's put points on the board straight away. Liverpool Champions League final this year. They played Tottenham. Within a minute, Mo Salah scores a goal. Settles the nerves. And literally, Scout Cheeks is the Mo Salah of Pittsburgh rugby. Praise Scout. Praise Mohammed. Okay. Katie Evans went on, given another try, 17-point lead. Conversions, once again, Mackenzie Dillon, great fan. She keeps on putting up the points, whereas Scout is always going to score you the points with the putting the ball down in the touchdown zone, aka the conversion range. Mackenzie then kicks them. You know, it's a fantastic combination. Scoring somewhat slowed in the second half. A few breakdowns began. The game got a little bit dirty, and it was almost a stalemate for 20 minutes until Nicole Burkett broke free for another Forge try, scoring quickly, followed by another being put down by Katie Evans, giving the Forge a 29-0 lead at the half. Corrections were made at half-time, as well as a number of substitutions, which led to another 2 quick tries being scored on the outside, both by Chloe Correa, less than 1 minute apart. So once again, when the Forge women hit you, they hit you hard, Red.
Yeah, when you get 2 in a row, that really boosts your team and puts down if you got them against you.
Exactly, yeah. So once again, that's a fantastic win for the Forge women. And they will now travel to Cincinnati to take on the Celts, the Western Conference top seed, on Saturday at 11 a.m. So once again, that is a big trip, going out to Cincinnati, getting ready to play at 11 a.m. They're not really doing the women much favours with these travelling. We're talking about the Buffalo team coming down, playing at 10:30. Now the poor old the women of the Forge are going out to Cincinnati for 11 a game start. So we wish you nothing but the best, women's Forge. Hopefully you beat the Celts. Hopefully you bring the game home. And hopefully you and the Forge D2 are representing the region well. Okay, Red.
I see no reason why they can't.
Yeah.
Looks great. It's going to be great. No matter what team you play for, having a team do what the Forge is doing at the D2 level, men and women, is definitely good for the area.
It is. Now, I said to you, Red, I want you to bring something a little bit different that Gator cannot bring to the pod. Unfortunately, Gator's usually the man who gets me these match reports. He does a lot of work behind the scenes. As much as I kind of wrestle him and mess with him, he does a lot of work behind the scenes. And I says to you, Red, I need something a little bit different from you. I want you to stand apart. Can you do that? Can you provide something a little bit different?
I have something for you.
Okay.
All podcast long, from the first podcast to now, Gator has preached it. You have preached it. I think Bill might have touched on it. Casey from Akron definitely commented. One of the biggest things in club rugby
is the love of Miller High Life.
Oh, delicious. But one of the biggest things club rugby, especially the D3 level, is having the players to go places.
Yeah, it is.
So I said, Red, what can we do? What can we see to really show how hard it is? And I said, let me see how many players in the D3 Eastern Conference played in all 6 of their league matches.
Okay.
So there are 7 teams in our league. Every team plays 6 games. How many players actually played in all 6? And
now, when you say played, just minutes on the field or started?
Minutes on the field.
Okay, so even coming on as a sub.
Even if you came on as a sub in one of them. Out of all 7 teams, only 33 total players played in all 6 games. That's absurd.
Crazy. Very low numbers.
If you're going to sign up...
That's literally 2 teams. 2 full teams.
That's literally 2 teams could have been fielded to play in all 6 games. And that's the biggest thing. Now, when we look at the numbers and the breakdown of what teams had how many, Akron had 11 of those 33.
A team that has some of the lowest numbers recorded, but 11 players, yeah.
Akron had 11 players, and who won the league?
It wasn't Akron. It was Akron, yeah.
It was Akron.
Yeah.
Could it be because they had the players? Because every game, there were 11 guys there that played every game together to keep that going.
And I've often talked about that, just the chemistry itself.
Exactly.
Isn't it? Like, this player wants the ball. You know, we've certain plays where I might be getting the ball from, if you're playing 8-man, I'm wing.
Yeah.
And I kind of say to you, listen, Red, I want that ball as soon as I can. And other people might have that mentality, just give it to me, take on 3 players, then give me the ball. Yeah. So when you have that chemistry being formed, really helps the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, but having only 33 players out of 7 teams playing all 6 matches, that's a big problem at the D3 level. But I thought it was a little interesting.
Now, why do you think that is? Is that commitment or... Now, obviously...
I think it's commitment.
You do?
I think it is. Well, I don't know how to say it, because if you look at the numbers of how many from each team played in all, Akron happens to be the top of the league and happen to have the most.
Yeah.
But then second is South Pitt. And we struggle for numbers.
Yeah.
We just have a dedicated 7. A dedicated 8, really.
Right.
That really are going to make every game. We had 7 this year play on all 6. Whereas the Forge had 5. The Rovers had 4. Crusaders had 2. Presque Isle had 3 that went to all 6 games. And Greensburg didn't have anybody play in all 6 games. And, yes, everyone's going to say, well, Red, how did you find out if there was a forfeit? you don't know if everyone played in every game.
Right.
I counted Akron if they played in 5 games because the one forfeit is not, nobody gets, listed as a game.
Yeah.
But nonetheless,